And we are live. What is up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to FunPop. This is episode number 69. We are gonna have some fun.
Nice.
Yeah. Wait for you to say so. It's episode 69. Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna have some fun speculation on this episode. Because we did get some information today. We got a Stalker 2 release date. We also had a new heavily rumored release date for Hellblade 2. And so, because this is the last episode on this channel before the Dev Direct on Thursday, I want to have some time and us kind of add some of this potential information, like if we add the Hellblade 2 thing in there as well, to revisit our discussions on the roadmap for this year. For Xbox. So that's going to be part of what we're going to do here, as well as we're going to kind of reflect on this show Echo that was on Disney Plus, part of the MCU. And I finished it. I know Jasper's finished it. I think Psycho's probably on his way, so he'll join us probably in the middle of the show. Unless he's not able to join us tonight. I'm not sure. I haven't heard from him. But we will see on that. But yeah, Echo, we got a lot of thoughts. I do not know how Jasper feels about it. He does not know how I feel about it. But we are going to give our reviews and discuss that show on this episode. But I kind of want to get into the other stuff first, Jasper, because
That's fine with me.
it's been on my mind a lot. But anyway, besides that, how are you doing?
Pretty good, I guess. It's cold as fuck, so I'm wearing a hoodie inside.
Yeah, we've been frozen in the last couple days. You know, just haven't been able to go outside or do anything not because of ice or anything. It's just too fucking cold.
Yeah, I mean, like my room's not like my room
anywhere.
was built on after the house, so like they never connected like
Oh,
the
yeah.
AC and shit to it. So it's like it's either cold as shit in the winter or it's hot as fuck in
Yeah.
the summer. So I got like a little personal heater and shit.
Do you have an attic above you in that room?
Yeah,
Okay, so
but the thing is, like the original heating is built under the house in the main part. So
Oh,
like, yeah, and there's no
so
under.
you would have to so there's no under there, so you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have to like literally run a duct up through the floor and into your wall or
Yeah.
something. You know, I don't know. That sucks, bro. But how's it going, chat? Hope you all are doing well. Quick programming note as well. Yeah, I ended up getting behind with all of the shows on audio. I got all that caught up today, so we are caught up with shows on audio platforms as well. I had gotten a couple messages of people asking about that. Sorry, the holidays and stuff, like it's just it got away from me. But we are caught up, and I'm gonna do my best to make sure that I stay up to date on that stuff. And appreciate all the audio listeners, but also everybody here in the chat. Lots of awesome people here. I see. Let's see, Carissa, how's it going? Talos Ray, Luis Jose, Poison Maniac, Z Black Rider. It's Tim A, Jesse B. Everybody here hanging out. Appreciate you all. Hooded Canuck, I see you. Ghost Fixter. Lots of awesome people. Mitchy Poo, RSJ fan. How's it going? King Thrash. Bet that's not the real one. Because that never is. Anyway, Alvin, what's up? How's it going? As well as Z Black Rider. Man, lots of awesome people here. I hope you all enjoy the content here on the channel. If you do, hit the like button, share it out, sub to the channel, notification bell, all that kind of cool stuff. But yeah, let's get into this new information. Right? This new information we got here. We got a release date, potentially, for Hellblade 2. That came from a couple different stuff I saw today on Twitter. You didn't see this? This was everywhere earlier. It was supposed to be May 21st.
Okay.
Yeah, and trying to find. I'm gonna go back and see if I can't look in our DMs and find the original source to this. Remember I was in our DMs. I was like,
yeah,
I clipped myself saying May because of that.
later, like. And there was like 30 messages in there, so I was like, I'm not reading all that shit.
Okay, so this is from Xputer. And I guess it came from Xtos. Xtos, he's a leaker and stuff. Has gotten things right before. But this says among avowed Microsoft Flight Simulator 2 and others, Xbox's exclusive lineup for 2024 is looking fairly promising. One of the games I'm most thrilled about in this regard is Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, the sequel to Hellblade. Xbox Showcase, which aired live in June 2023, gave out release window for Hellblade 2 after a substantial period of wait. But now sources close to me have revealed that the game has a set release date of May 21st, 2024. Due to the matter of the informant's anonymity, I cannot disclose the source's origin, but the information is reliable enough to be talked about ahead of time. So, now a couple other people ran with this and kind of have said other things on Twitter. What do you think? First off, do you think there's a possibility that that's accurate?
Yeah, I mean the Xtos guy or whatever, he leaked the OD game back in the day, so
Yeah.
like he's got some shit before, so like it's possible. I mean, I wouldn't see why not. It seems like it would be a good fit for.
And it was my guess, right? Just saying, it was my guess on Xbox Ultimate on Friday when we did all that. I said May for Hellblade. So,
are you an insider?
No, I'm not. Oh. But you know, Psycho is not an insider, and he got Indiana Jones right. That was going to be at the Dev Direct, right? I'm not an insider, and I got May right for Hellblade potentially. Just saying, sometimes our fun speculation, you know, we may get some stuff right occasionally. We were not right about March for Starfield, but maybe each of us can be right sometimes. Go with the gut, you know. And yeah, Hellblade 2, I think it's a good date. But if you add that up, now this is other game that I'm going to talk about is not a first party game. It's third party, right? We're talking about S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. But it is a big RPG open world game. It is Game Pass day one. You know there's going to be a lot of marketing and all that kind of stuff behind it, right? So that release date was announced today. And that was announced for September 5th. Okay? So take S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 into equation. For me, like, I don't think they would like announce a release like something like Avowed at the same time as S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. I know S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 is not first party, but like because of the association with Xbox and being exclusive, Game Pass day one thing, both big games, you know, are kind of open world style like RPGs and stuff. I think that would potentially move Avowed out of that slot if that was already planned for that slot, to potentially either maybe a month before, a month later, because that's kind of what I was thinking for Avowed would be September. Do you think? Yeah, do you think it could have an effect?
I guess it's early September, so you could still put Avowed like September 25th or some shit. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't personally. I wouldn't. It wouldn't affect me. Like, I would just switch both games. Like, play one here, play one there. Like, I don't know. I don't think it affects it, but I mean, if you do, that's fine.
Well, I mean, but what I'm getting at is basically with the marketing and stuff. Like, so there's marketing. You have, the big push on that. Like, I don't anticipate them marketing S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 and Avowed the same, like, or in the same time frame. You know, like, well, I feel like S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 is going to get a lot of marketing for a third party game. Maybe.
Yes, but also like I don't think Xbox is going to be doing like the major push on that. Like CSG World's still going to do like the main marketing, I would assume.
Well, I think that probably because it's exclusive day one Game Pass, that maybe was included with the deal. You know what I mean? Like, I would imagine marketing is probably a part of that. Like them pushing it. So like I don't know how much of it, because this is one of the bigger games from third party that we've gotten in Game Pass day one. But I would maybe compare it to something like Atomic Heart, right?
Yeah.
Or like what was the other one from the Rick and Morty people?
Oh, High on Life.
High on Life.
Yeah.
So they kind of like focused on those a lot at the shows leading up. Like I remember at
Yeah.
Gamescom they had a
But then,
lot.
like, when they got close to launch, they just didn't even talk about it, though.
That's true. That's true. That's very true. I don't know, Chad. Do you think that a September release date for Stalker
Also, like,
2 would affect
the
the
release
release date
date
for
for, like
Avowed?
the release date for Avowed and Stalker's, like Avowed, like, I can see them, like, still being kinda iffy on it maybe if it is that far along, like, in the September. So they may not give us a date if it's past, like, June.
Right.
And then the Stalker thing, you just never know if that game's gonna get delayed another fucking year. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, the dates for those 2 games, I think, are kinda still up in the air, to be honest. If Avowed is later. If
Right.
it's sooner, then it's fine.
So let's assume that this leak is true for Hellblade 2. Okay. Because I think a lot of us, we're expecting 4 AAA games this year, right? Because that's what Phil Spencer keeps saying, and that's what he said before ABK. So I'm not including Call of Duty in that list,
Yeah.
right? So I think most of us all assumed that Hellblade 2 might be the first of those big games, right? And then Avowed and Indiana Jones, either or, right? But like Hellblade 2 is not coming out till potentially May 21st. So either that means there's not a big game releasing until May 21st, or one of those other games is sooner than that, or there's something else that's sooner than that. Because I didn't peg Avowed or Indiana Jones to be
Pause.
before Hellblade, right? You were the one going off on pegging
Yeah.
yesterday, Jasper. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so, because that would be when did like Forza and then Starfield were the last 2 big releases they had. That was not
Yeah.
Call of
But
Duty, right?
yeah. Starfield wasn't at the last direct though. It was only Forza. That was the only game that was past the 6 months, like first half.
Well, so if we look into, I'm not trying to hold them to like a every 3-month thing, but would they go like 6 months without a big release?
Or do they just fill the first like half or first 3 months with smaller stuff? Like you put Aura, Towerborn, and maybe Flight Sim in there. Like so you get 3 games that aren't as big, but still you get a lot of stuff in there.
Okay. And then that means that they're going to have 4 big games from May to November.
I don't think that's a problem. I mean,
No,
if
I'm
they
not saying
if, if they
it's
have
not
them, it's ready.
it's not a problem. So, but then let's say at that point, then you start with Hellblade 2 in May, right?
Yeah.
Then what's the next game? Like Avowed or Indiana? Do we go with Indiana Jones for like August?
I think Indiana Jones is June or July. It's
So
a summer game.
okay, so you're talking about 2 big games within like 2 months. So like in the summer. So like Hellblade 2, then Indiana Jones, then Stalker 2 is going to be exclusive. So that's September 5th. When do you drop Avowed?
November
So that's the holiday game?
or October. I can see it like being a good around like Halloween, but also like maybe you want to have like a big RPG go up against Call of Duties because it's like kind of 2 different categories. So yeah, I would say like late October or November for Avowed if
Okay.
it's later.
And then Indiana Jones you think is summer.
Yeah.
And then so what's the 4th big game?
Um,
It's tough, right? Like the crazy thing is like there's so much to learn about just this year still from Xbox, even though we can kind of like speculate and figure out what the roadmap kind of is. Like there's so many damn possibilities, dude. And this is kind of what Matt Booty was talking before when they like their biggest problem is like figuring out where to put things. You know, like we're trying to figure out where they put things, and
Oh,
it's pretty difficult to figure it out.
I mean, I know that like if they don't have another big game, people are gonna be like, you didn't put 4 big games out for every quarter this year or whatever. So like
Yeah.
they could, if Flight Sim does come out earlier in the year, like they could be like, well, we put out Flight Sim, and that's a big game to us. Like, so they could Xbox kind of like
Right.
weasel their way out of it.
They could see Flight Sim as that.
Yeah.
I mean, they did kind of mention it when they did that sit down interview, like when they were rambling off big games and stuff. You know, they said Flight Sim. Yeah, I don't know if the community really sees it that way, especially since we just got one a couple years ago. And like,
Yeah.
but I get how they could see it that way because it is like,
I mean, it's probably a big budget
right?
game,
No,
so
for
for them,
sure.
it's a big game.
I mean, it's a damn impressive thing. It's one of the most impressive things in gaming, really, when you look at what they've done. And so it's like, yeah, it'll probably make a statement still when it releases, but like, I don't think it's gonna like move the needle past what people are already thinking of Flight Sim. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, this is probably gonna be more of a refresh. It can't look that much better. I don't know how it
Yeah, I
could.
don't even think it's like necessarily gonna look better. I think they're
It's
just
just
adding game modes to make it more gamey instead of
yeah.
simming.
So I was confused when they said it's like a new release. You know, I just expected it to be
I think
like
that's
a
just a way for them to sell you some more shit.
right. Maybe sell to like Michael Yu on in chat says the Flight Sim will sell well on Steam. Maybe an easy way to put a new Flight Sim up on PC and have a lot of PC users buy it automatically because it's a new Flight Sim, right? But it's got to have all new content in it to justify being a new game. But you can't
Yeah, I mean
like,
it's gonna have all the job
but it's the same
stuff.
Earth. It's still Earth, you know. Unless it's not. Plot twist.
It's
Mars,
yeah.
future. I don't know. We got a super chat from Alvin with $5. Says Suicide Squad, Foam Stars, and Helldivers 2 within 6 days. Sony blowing their multiplayer load all at once. Also, Hellblade isn't the first Xbox game this year. So Alvin goes on to say, if those games were this early, they'd be at the direct. Avowed March, Hellblade May, Indie June, maybe swap Indie and Avowed. Yeah, I can't figure out Indie and Avowed. And there's also a possibility, I say like a slim possibility, that Indiana Jones is not this year. And if that's the case, then that means we have 2 big games we don't know about for this year. But there's
Well, I mean, the show they said is gonna be an hour, right?
they didn't say as time frame, but they said shortly after it, there will be the
Oh, okay.
Elder Scrolls thing, right? And the Elder Scrolls thing takes place an hour after the start of the direct.
Okay. I was gonna say
So
because last year was like 40 minutes and we had 5 games. So if this one's an hour, like they
I
get
think
another
it's
2 in
probably
there.
going to be roughly the same length as last year's.
Yeah.
Right. It could be a little longer. There is Tim Dog putting stuff out there as well about there being a 5th game at the showcase, which we all kind of assumed, but like didn't necessarily mean it has to be a shadow drop, right? But we did assume there's going to be some kind of surprise. So it could be a 5th game at the Dev Direct, could be an announcement, could be anything. But Tim Dog seemed to be like his bet is on Kiln, which is that Double Fine game, because it's supposedly like not a super big game or whatever.
What if Indiana Jones is like March and then Flight Sim is the summer game? Like move Indiana Jones way up.
Well, I mean, like, do you think? Okay, so hypothetically, okay, so there was the rumor that Mag had said right about the co-development, which on tonight's XNC Mag had kind of touched on that maybe should have said worked on or something like that, right? Which is kind of what we talked about yesterday on FSP, is that we didn't really see it as like probably like not a co-development situation, but probably something that maybe the optimization and all that kind of stuff. Now, hear me out. If that many different studios were all pitching in for like optimization and working on stuff, does that seem like something to get something out potentially? or just I don't know, just
Because I got to
hypothetical.
thinking about it, like Flight Sim just doesn't make sense this early because we haven't seen anything from it, and also like they still have a DLC that they got the Dune DLC coming out for the old 2020 Flight Sim. It's supposed to come out like I think next month or the month after, and you're not going to put a DLC out for the old game after the new game.
Right. So when's that DLC coming?
I think it's either late February or March. The Dune DLC for Flight Sim.
Okay. So the thing is they can drop Flight Sim whenever too.
Yeah,
And it's not going to really affect like their thought process on releasing other games. You know what I mean? In any kind of window or time
yeah,
or anything.
it's its own thing.
Um, I forget
But
the
if they
last.
want to stick to that 1 1/4 thing, then
Did the
they
last
would.
Flight Sim launch date on console? I forget.
No, it was on PC like a year before.
This one's got a launch date on
Yeah.
console, right? They can't. Yeah. So, and I think they've already said that. If I could be mistaken, but I think they already said that in the trailer or whatever. So all right, so let's go through this. Is there a big game coming out before May?
Yes.
Okay, so which one would be your bet?
Um, I'm thinking indie. I think it's got to be indie at
So
this
you're
point.
moving India. Now you're thinking indie is going to be an earlier thing. Okay. So we're going to get the first, according to your thought process here, right? We're going to get the first gameplay trailer, right? For Indiana Jones. And it's
And a
probably going
month
to, and
or
it's
two
going
later.
and it's going to have a release date. And then shortly after that, that would be insane, right? That would be
I mean,
insane.
also if you look at the old Bethesda leak, it was supposed to be the first game of that year that it came out, and it was supposed to be the first game of 2022 or whatever it was.
Right, so they had already planned on releasing it
Yeah.
early in the year whenever they released it. Hmm. I mean, I could get behind it. I could get behind it. I mean, like it would be nuts. That would steal the show, obviously. Like if they said this game's coming out and it's like only like 2 months away. So would you
Yeah.
say like March?
Yeah, March or I think February. Yeah, February's too soon.
Okay, so
So it's got to be March or April.
so we're Indiana Jones marchers now.
Yeah.
Okay, so Indiana Jones March, and then you're at we'll stick with May for
Yeah,
Hellblade,
for a Hellblade.
and then we know Stalker 2 is September 5th, and then
I'm
you're
not
saying
even
Avowed is
counting that one.
and then Avowed is after that, right? You're saying November.
Yeah, October, November.
Okay, so I think then that would mean probably the one we wouldn't get an actual release date for at this show would be Avowed.
Yeah.
They would say like later this year,
Yeah.
kind of like they did with Forza last year, right? Um, but then that leaves a fourth game. I don't think they're going to consider Flight Sim that fourth game.
I
I don't
don't
know.
either, but I mean, they have a R at the show, but like, how do they consider that? Like, they can't consider that a big game, but they're putting it on the face of
No,
this
they can't.
direct,
They
so it's
can't
like,
because it's on PC only.
yeah,
That'd be if they consider that one of their four big releases, that would be a slap in the face to like I think Xbox gamers in general, like because the whole play anywhere thing they have, and then not to put that on console day and date. Um, and if they were considering that like one of their big releases for the year, I think it is a big release for them. I think it's gonna do well on PC, but like they're talking about the Hellblades, the Avoweds, Indiana Jones, like games like Halo, Forza, things like that, things that people talk about and get excited about a lot. And there's not a lot of talk for people getting excited about Aura.
yeah.
Just is. It is what it is. I want to know everybody in the chat. let me hear what you think. Like, what month does Avowed come out? Because when I saw the reason I brought this up again is because Stalker 2 again September 5th, right? I had pinned Avowed for September, and personally, I don't think they drop Avowed on top of Stalker 2, even though it's not their game, right? I don't think they do that. So,
I mean, the thing with Stalker though is like they could have already, if Avowed is already set in date, like they could have already had Avowed set for September and then not know what the fuck Stalker's going to do just because of the situation.
right, but then when the Stalker announced their date, don't you think they would have not picked September 5th? You know,
Well,
like,
not if Microsoft didn't fucking tell them.
right. I just think there had to been some kind of discussion about it, you know, like that would be bad if they're partners and stuff. They aren't discussing these kind of things. Like, what if they like dropped a game like the same exact fucking day as one of the other ones? You know what I mean? Like, that would be now for us. I personally wouldn't care, but like I would say that it could be damning for a game. You know what I mean? Like, to not get as much attention as it could deserve. You know, we saw what happened with Titanfall when it came out. Like, and it was a completely different kind of thing because these are single player games. But like Titanfall, when it originally came out, like came out the same day as Battlefield, or the same week, not the same day, yeah, same week as Battlefield, and it was like from EA, and both of them were EA. I'm like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, how are you? You're like sabotaging your own fucking new IP by dropping it the same week as Battle. It was just crazy. I couldn't believe that they did that, but and that was internally at EA. They fucked themselves over. So like these things have an effect, and I feel like sometimes games release the same time as others, and they can kind of get overlooked. What's up, Psycho?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can. Welcome to the show.
Just
get off work?
No. Just got my PC to work. That's
okay.
It.
Oh, right on.
It's still giving me issues. Like right now, Discord, y'all are just like two little blocks. You know how like there's like that little spinning busy signal thing?
Yeah.
It's just like froze. I'm like, okay, awesome. I love my fucking old ass PC.
Yeah. Chad, do me a favor. Anytime you see a PC giveaway on Twitter, tag Psychonauts. I try every time I see one, I tag them. But tag Psycho on Twitter every time you see some kind of PC giveaway, even if you think it might be fake and a scam. I don't care. Tag Psycho in it. He's desperate. He needs to.
I do. I need to get out of the 2010s.
How old is that thing?
I built it in 2012.
Oh my god, bro.
Yeah. This is the whole 990
Does it have a
FX
floppy
build.
disk drive in it?
No, but it has two Blu-ray players.
Why do you have two?
One's a burner and the other.
I knew he was gonna say that. One's a fucking burner, bro. That's the way they did it.
Fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, but you could just use the same one as a burner, and then when you're not burning something, use it as a fucking player.
Not if I used to rip them right from movies from disc to disc. You had to have two.
Yeah, that's the way they did it back then.
Yeah,
that's you had two. You had the tray, and you had the tray. You put in one, and then you put the other one in the other, and it was like burned. Yeah.
Yep. I had a lot of movies that I rented that I ripped.
So let's see. Michael Yu in the chat says February Kiln. Yeah, there's a lot of smoke around that right now. Double Fine's Kiln game. May Hellblade, July Indie, September Stalker, October Avowed. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
I can get behind that. We were talking about it, Psycho, because we got some more information today, right? There's a rumor for Hellblade 2 that seems pretty strong, potentially. That's May 21st.
Yeah, that's for May.
Right? Yes. And then Stalker 2, which I know is not Xbox first party, right? But it is a big Game Pass day one exclusive for Xbox coming this year. That's going to be marketed by Xbox. As Stalker 2, and we got a release date of September 5th. Okay, so I was trying to put this new information we have to revisit our conversation about the release dates, because we all thought Hellblade 2 was the first potential big game of the year before, right? But that's not until May 21st. Is there something before then that's
Jason
being
Max
considered a
made
big
a
game?
good point. Microsoft could have been betting on Stalker 2 to fill the first quarter.
You think? Oh, because that was slated for first quarter. Yeah, that was slated for first quarter this year. Do you think? What if? Okay, so what if Avowed was
They got
actually
burned
ready?
twice.
Well, what if Avowed was ready to kind of go and they moved it up? Would they do that? I don't think they could do that. Not at that short notice. Or they
Plus,
had a discussion and were like, "Hey, this is good to go if you need more time." I don't know. It's hypotheticals.
yeah, like kind of like South of Midnight that that popped up just the other day, and
I
you
still
were
think that's
able
like
to
next year or 2 years away.
pre um pre-download. So that was interesting because if it was ready for 2 years, then why would it be pre-downloadable?
I mean, we've had Stalker 2 pre-downloads up for 2 years. We've had everything that was announced at
Well,
the last year's E3 show. We've had up for pre-download.
yeah, last year.
It's been a thing for a long time. The pre-install
Yeah.
thing, it's been a thing. Like,
Yeah, but if it's not 2 years out, that's quite a bit of a length of time for a game that if it's still mid early mid if they're working on it, if it's whatever. I'm looking at a black screen. All right, it's fucking hard to talk.
No, I get a lot was made about the whole like pre-install things from a lot of people, and like that's something they've been doing for a long time. And like when those games get announced, a lot of times you can do it like shortly after they get announced and stuff. And then sometimes they come a little bit later or whatever. But um, there's some that have been like for like 2 years, you know. So I wouldn't read too much into that per se, but there is other reasons to think. Like, there's been rumors that South of Midnight could be a game this year anyway. You know what I mean? So, like, we're missing one big game, but that's our other part of this discussion, Psycho. Because, like, okay, we get Hellblade 2, we get Avowed, and if Indiana Jones is this year, that's 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say Hellblade 2 is May. And what I
Yeah.
asked Jasper first, is there a game that drops before then? This year?
They if Phil Spencer, if he's right, when he said that we could see our cadence that we want to hit, and that's one per quarter, and that would put there's a game between now to March, and what that game could be, we got to look at what we've seen so far. Unless this is a game that they've been under wraps, but for a big game, if he said AAA, if they have a AAA game that's been under wraps and no one knows about it, bravo on them. But we could look at possibly, but see, Contraband's not technically first party, but it is per se. I mean,
What about Silk Song?
that's definitely not.
I mean, I know it's third
First
party,
party.
but like that would be like if you kind of shadow drop that or have it like come out a month after the show, like that would be fucking huge for Xbox because it's supposed to be like that Game Pass big indie game for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not that big AAA exclusive that they.
I mean, Silk Song's gonna get
have
more hype than some big AAA games this year.
It will, but I don't think. I mean,
possibly not.
well, they wouldn't consider that as one of their games anyway, though,
Yeah.
right? Like, so
This is their studios. This is
yeah.
or their IP that they've been mentioning. So I really hope it's not uh, um, Flight Simulator 24.
Yeah, so what we were talking about before you got here is that
I
we
really
were
don't
thinking
hope that's.
we were wondering if that's something they would have considered as like one of their big games, you know?
If they
Um,
do, then that's not something that people really give two fucks about.
yeah. Do you think we're all
I mean,
making too much of this one per quarter thing? Not saying that like not
not
saying that we're expecting a game every 3 months, but like we're expecting 4 big releases this year because of that. And I think that's fair to say that most people in the community are expecting 4 big releases, you know.
if we you look at the amount of studios that they have, then you look at the amount of IPs. I mean, Mav, you did a breakdown, and we had what? It was like over 56, almost 60 games that they've been in development and they've been working on, and a lot of it has come out since when you have done that report of what these
Yeah,
games
and that
could
was like 2
be.
years ago. Like so
Yeah,
they've had a lot of stuff since then.
and they've added a lot of stuff as long with
Yeah.
actually releasing a lot of, a lot of things that we had code names for. Then ended up being either grounded in Hi-Fi Rush and things like that. But seeing what we or what we know, like so, Contraband is a Microsoft owned IP, but third party developed. Is that how that went about?
Which game?
Contraband.
Yeah, Contraband's first party. They consider it first party.
Okay.
It's published by them. So,
So we haven't heard nothing about
mhm.
Contraband since 2021.
Right.
believe.
But I
Until
don't think that's ready.
until
Just
recently when Mag saw it,
yeah.
like, but like we don't know how far away that is.
I mean, unless
Yeah.
Doom's like in December Doom.
Yeah.
Like then you get your 4 big games.
Okay, like Alvin in the chat was saying like it 6, they could see 6 if you include Call of Duty.
Yeah,
would that
but
be
this was
including flights?
mentioned
Would that be including
prior.
Flight Sim, Alvin, or would that not? Be
I just
including Flight
can't
Sim?
think of anything that's like close to ready that they've announced that I could think of that's like.
What about South of Midnight or
I still
Clockwork
think
Revolution?
I think South Midnight's still probably a year out at most, and then Clockwork, like I know some people were saying like possibly later this year, but I still think that's next year too.
See, this is hard.
It's
Like,
so
really
hard. They have so much, but like with the 4, I don't count. Again, I don't count Call of Duty, right?
Yeah, 'cause this was mentioned
Yeah,
prior.
they were talking about the 1 per quarter for like way before ABK they even did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Even put in the bid for ABK. You know what I mean? Like that was a thing on their roadmap and pipeline before then that they had talked about and addressed for a long time, and they finally say they're kind of hitting their stride to hit that.
I think
and they think they're going to be able to hit it for years to come.
the only way
well.
South of Midnight's this year is if it's like a gunk size game, like the gunk that came out a few years ago.
Supposedly,
like
it's bigger than. Supposedly, it's a pretty big game. Like that's
I don't know.
what's
Like,
supposed to come out from the people that have information on the game is that the game is like kind of a bigger thing than we would think.
Yeah, and Compulsion's been working on this since after We Happy
Yeah.
Few. So it's at least 5 years minimum. And I mean, we've seen AAA games really get that 5-6 years is about where we see big AAA games. And if they've been working hard, and we know that they've been hiring, so that team has grown as well. But like what you said, I don't think we're not putting too much into this 1 per quarter because Phil Spencer has doubled down on saying that again recently. So if he was not sure, he would not have said that. I think it was at one of the podcasts that he was on, saying that I can see it, we're on point to hit that mark where we could see one every quarter.
Yeah, I mean, he was ultra confident in it. Like he's
Correct.
like, yeah, we have the roadmap lined up. Now we're gonna hit that target, and I understand what you're saying in the chat about ABK, but like they already had been acquiring studios to hit that roadmap. They acquired Obsidian, Double Fine, Ninja Theory, all those other studios. Then they added ZeniMax Bethesda, right? Like those are the kind of studios and all the acquisitions that I think were more in line for them with their expectations of hitting the target. Like ABK is like Call of Duty, Candy Crush, Diablo, like those kind of things, and they don't like. Yeah, they have Call of Duty every year, but and maybe they have some surprise games this year that we don't know about. Also, like who knows? They could, but
Yeah, from
that I
Raven.
don't think that was part of the discussion because those things that we're saying were before ABK, and like ABK was a pipe dream. You know what I mean? They didn't know they were going to be able to get something like ABK at the time. That kind of situation fell into their lap, right? And maybe they're ultra confident now because they have ABK and they knew that they were going to close. But even last time Phil Spencer was commenting on that stuff, ABK hadn't closed yet. This was talking about like right after Redfall launched and stuff, and like at that time, still things were up in the air regarding Activision Blizzard and what was going to go down and all that kind of stuff. And
I
I
mean, he
feel like
mentioned
they were confident in it, but like I don't think the ABK thing was reliant on that one per quarter.
no, no, not at all, because they didn't know if it was going to be this year or next, or last year or this year. I think everything was pointing to, wasn't it like they were saying like April of this year or something along the lines, like it was still going to be in like Q1 that they were going to close. If the trial went further um than it has, then we notice that the FTC and the judge is like, you're fucking on a witch hunt. uh so and it closed earlier. So with what he said prior, ABK was not even in the forethought of 4 per quarter. And now that they have that, they got whatever is they've been working on, because Toys for Bob rebranded. Um, I think Raven Software. I think they mentioned of working on a new game or been working on something.
That was a former Raven Studio guy came out and said that he was working on other stuff, but it got canceled because Activision moved him all to Warzone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but they
but
also had the thing that so they were doing some like engine test stuff over there as well, like in some little demos and stuff like that. So I think it's promising to say that they're probably going to be able to do some other stuff now, but I don't know how soon that would be.
no, it's not anytime
Yeah,
soon. No, no, no. I'm not saying that. No, no, but I'm just saying that there's more stuff coming from them on top of what they've already had in
yeah,
the pipeline. So now they just added even more content to this ever growing pipeline that they have of games for Game Pass. And but right now it's like things that we don't know, like Contraband, possibly where South of Midnight, where that is in development, other games that we know of, because we know, what is it, State of Decay 3 is not ready. That will be more than likely next year E3, where we'll see a trailer gameplay, and we'll go from there. Won't even think about possibly now. Everwild, remember back when they tossed things around, they said it got a year delay, and that year delay is this year.
right.
They still got to get
So
Sea of Thieves on PlayStation.
we'll see
um,
where things go with maybe
yeah,
possibly that being now thrown in the mix. Is that the game that is going to make a surprise? I said I think we'll see 2 games. I'm not saying shadow drops, but I'm saying 2 surprise games. I think we're going to see more than just having 5. I think we're going to have 6, but because there's just so much. There's so much from now to June.
yeah.
There's got to be
Unless
something big between now and at least April, though.
Yeah. Well, how big? You think like
But
something like I don't
AAA, like
maybe
something
if
big.
maybe Flight Sim like something like that could happen. Or but like you said, like that other DLC is about to hit, so like I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, I would expect. I mean, if I was, I'm just trying to put myself in Xbox's shoes right now, right? With all this years of planning, having all of these games in development, having all these studios, and like Matt Booty beforehand talk about their biggest problem is trying to figure out where to fit things. I would think you wouldn't literally let January to May go without a big release, right?
yeah,
So
unless
I'm just trying to figure out what we put in that fucking spot. What's for March? Because like if
unless
there's February or March is usually a pretty damn good time to release a big game. In fact, a lot of PlayStation huge titles have released around that time frame over the last couple of years. So like February,
We
March
didn't have
could be a great spot. Like it just
the
what is it?
first
What is it?
the first big game of last year wasn't that Redfall, and that was May, wasn't it?
Redfall was May, but
Yeah. I mean, like you had a bunch of smaller stuff
yeah, but I
before
think
that.
that was
yeah,
more situational, like based on when the stuff was finally ready. Like at that
yeah,
point, you know, like
but I think personally,
well, Hi-Fi
if
Rush came out. Like
yeah,
that's a, I
but
mean,
it
and it's not a huge thing, but that's a pretty substantial game. Like that's I would
it
I
was
consider
a
mean, at
that
the
solid
time
game.
they didn't know what
like,
was going to be. Like they
It
if
was a
they
solid
came out
game.
with Hi-Fi Rush a sequel, I think we would all consider that a big release, right?
It
Like
could be
Hi-Fi Rush 2, like I would consider that a big release. I
if
consider Hi-Fi Rush a big release personally.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's like AAA, like a Hellblade or anything like that. Like I
No,
would
but
put it more like Wasteland or Grounded territory. But I don't
um
know.
I think they were like I think Jasper mentioned that they were kind of hoping for Stalker 2 for that Q1, and now that they said, "Hey, nope, that's not happening." Now that could have thrown their plans out a little whack, but what they could do instead of trying to figure out what big game to put in from now to March is that why don't we go ahead and release, you know, whatever couple smaller titles, if South of Midnight is ready or Everwild,
mhm.
um, maybe the remakes, the Elder Scroll Oblivion, or possibly Fallout 4. I don't think is ready yet, but I
That
think
was the Fallout remakes were supposed to be a year after the Oblivion remake, according to the old
okay,
Bethesda leak.
so we could get like couple smaller titles in that type in that space to
Mhm.
kind of fill out, like, so we'll get like, if there's like three smaller projects, we can get one, um February, March, and then maybe one shadow dropping, or like a Gears remake if they did that collection. Kind of like, okay, this is where Stalker 2 is supposed to be, but let's go ahead and let's do this for now. I know it's not a big major, AAA game that we've that we were hoping for, because Stalker 2 is not ready, but we get it. So let's when we do this, do some fan service. Gears would be amazing. It'd be enough time to, people new to the ecosystem checking out Gears for the first time, checking out the other two titles if they're, if Everwild and South of Midnight are available. Um, and then just catching up on just other games that, finish tighten up, finishing some games that you had on your backlog, things like that, and then getting you ready for that Hellblade in May. And maybe we'll see another title in April, just to kind of offset, like early April, kind of offset that week Q1. So this way, maybe another smaller title there, and then boom, here's your big hit, and then boom for your, I don't know, if they do the September release for Stalker, that goes there. Avowed possibly going. now being pushed to October. Then Call of Duty, and then whatever other else. If you have smaller stuff ready to go, like Kiln, whatever, you can fill
Yeah.
that in.
There's
Depending on
smoke
what that
around
game
Kiln
is.
for be a shadow drop potentially,
Yeah,
right?
like I
Like, but
said,
we'll see. I don't know. Like, we'll see if there's anything to that. Tim Dog did say today on Twitter that he believes there's a fifth game. So, which we all speculated on already, but we don't know exactly what that
So
means. You know?
this is just speculation, but like they remastered the first two Quakes.
Okay.
Like,
Quake
do we
3.
get another Quake thing here? Like they could port Quake Champions over
I
because it's
think
only
I
on
think they would
PC.
save that for QuakeCon.
Yeah.
yeah, they would
Yeah.
do that for QuakeCon 100%. So they have some content for that. I don't think we'll get anything. Whatever, I don't know. We don't know what they're working on. That is
Doom
like
is
the biggest
supposedly
it's supposed to be something.
well,
That's all we
supposed to
know.
be the Doom game that was in that leaked list, but we don't know 100% because they haven't said anything about it. But everything else on that list has turned out to be true, right? So that would lead me to believe that Doom Year Zero is a thing. And
Now,
maybe that's a
is that
surprise game at the show.
is that an actual game or DLC?
That was
That's the
actually
actual game. Yeah.
Actual game. So Year Zero takes place before the first new redone of Doom. Is that how this
What?
goes?
It takes
Year
place
Zero.
before the last.
The
Before
I
first-
mean, I don't know. Or it's like the way that the old
Mhm.
Doom ended, like maybe it's a reset to the world, so you're counting from zero now instead of continuing.
or
the
like
day.
another reboot of it potentially or whatever.
Another reboot of the reboot.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
I don't know.
Because
Let's
like
go.
you know how like we count the dates like before Christ and after Christ,
Yeah.
so like they would reset the date like based off the story that and shit
Right.
from Doom.
Okay.
Like that's why I would think it'd be Year Zero.
Yeah. I mean, that would draw a lot of hype if we got a Doom this year. And that would fit in line with that calendar from the leak list. But I don't know if that would be at this Dev Direct or if that would be at the showcase.
I would put
but
Doom.
that could fill in the fourth game.
You would want that around October.
Right. But what I'm saying is, like, if we're trying to find the fourth big game, that could be it. Right?
Yeah, but
The
if
thing
they
is
do
with that though, like that wasn't
we're
supposed
still
to be out
missing.
till a year after Indiana Jones, I believe. So like the only way that I would think that would fit in is if they either like sped up development and had no delays, or if it's gonna be like in December.
Yeah, or maybe because of when the game was being developed, that it wasn't impacted as much by COVID, right? Because it's been a while since Doom Eternal came out. Now it's been a few years, right?
Yeah, I will put.
And it can't be too different from Doom Eternal.
Right, and they're going to be using.
I wouldn't put too much stock in that.
Into what?
Doom Year Zero.
No, why?
I don't think they're ready to show off Doom Zero yet.
Well,
it's just like
I mean, for potentially this year.
If we hear zero from them, they're not. I don't see them dropping a big game like Doom the same year. If they do it June and it's coming out this year.
When did they announce Doom Eternal? And how long after it was announced did it come out?
Wasn't it a year? They showed it.
I mean, they did like fucking Bethesda in the past. And Fallout 4 came out the same year as fucking announced. So
yeah, but like
that's
this is Xbox now. Xbox has to figure out where they got to put games in.
I feel like there was a very short turnaround from when Doom Eternal came out to when it was revealed.
Doom Eternal announcement trailer 2018 E3, and it came out in 2020.
Oh, okay.
So
wow,
I was
a year
off
and a half.
year.
Yeah, that's a lot longer. Than
I fucked up. It's 2 years. Shit.
Really? They announced it that far ahead of release? For some reason, my memory is telling me that was like just announced and then released. But okay.
I don't think
probably something they did at QuakeCon. You know what I mean? Like a behind the scenes thing or something.
Yeah, because in 2019 they announced Orion and they were using Doom to run doing that whole streaming where they were getting,
Right.
4K PC max settings and at low latency and almost zero bandwidths and this whole fucking crazy thing that they were, technology that they have. Um, I'd like to know what the fuck's going on with that. Still waiting for Jez to fucking do an update on that, but he's too worried about beans and fucking cakes and shit.
Um. So I don't know. It's too hard to figure out what the fourth game is, if there is one besides Flight Sim, right? And if there isn't one, then that would kind of suck. But there's still a great year ahead for Xbox. But like, um, it's gonna be interesting. I think at this Dev Direct, a lot is going to be revealed. We're gonna have one of my most exciting
At least we
things.
get part of the roadmap filled in.
We're gonna have a lot of answers, right, to some questions. Things that, because 2024 is like a blank slate right now as far as dates. I mean, we got from first party. Like, do we have any release dates for anything first party for 2024?
I mean, just like years, but no, like I don't think months.
Yeah, I mean, like any actual
Nothing
concrete days or nothing like
solidified, nothing nailed down.
We don't even have like quarters, right? Or like seasons. I don't think. Has anything had a season or anything like that yet? Like about
there may be something that says fall, but I can't think of it.
I don't think we have any.
No, Halo season whatever.
Well, no, I'm talking about a season like winter, summer, fall, spring.
Yeah, actual seasons.
Like spring,
I thought you meant like
2024, or like a holiday 2024. Anything like that. Like, we don't have. We have zero of that, but yet we have ultra
because
confidence.
They had to, but they had to though.
I don't have a problem with it. I'm not saying I have a problem with it, whatsoever.
They just stepped on they stepped on their dick last time when they put dates on their fucking games and they got fucking delayed.
What would fix this problem is if we had a 12-month showcase. Where everything in that show.
Jasper, god damn it!
Oh, that did not fix anything. That made things a lot worse when they did that. Yeah. But
hey, it was like an 80% hit rate. Like, I mean, that's pretty good.
It was not 80%. It was like 30%.
Everything was delayed.
No, it wasn't. Oh, someone did the math. It was like 78% or some shit.
All the third-party stuff came, but not first party.
Like Silksong was at that show, and that's still not even out yet. Like, it's like. There was like first party wise,
Forza could have been held off a little bit.
The only first party game that hit that was Redfall, right?
And that should have been fucking delayed for an entire year.
So like, and there was like out of the games that they had first party wise, the only one that hit that was Redfall, and then Forza missed it, Starfield missed it. That was it for that year. So anyway, I mean, I was shocked though that they didn't have Hi-Fi Rush at that show, because like that was the easy one they could have hyped up some and then dropped it. But I do like the fact that they shadow dropped Hi-Fi Rush. But like I don't care that there's no release dates right now. I'm just saying that we have a year ahead where we know there's 4 big releases coming for Xbox, right? At least that's what they've kind of alluded to. And then you add Call of Duty and all that stuff to the mix. But we don't have a date for any of them yet. So we have this Dev Direct on Thursday. And we're going to have some answers. And it's going to be fucking awesome to actually have the answers given to us. It's going to be awesome.
I hope they don't fucking pull another Forza and be like, coming soon. Fuck you. All right? If the game's not ready,
if they're gonna have if something's coming holidays like later in the year, I bet they do say later this year, like they did with Forza.
Yeah, but if the thing is like if Indiana Jones, like I don't know how this Dev Direct, how this format, because if this is stuff not coming out this year, or stuff it's a mix of coming out this year, not coming out this year. I don't know. I'm on the fence. I don't want to see at a Dev Direct what's coming out next year.
I feel like everything that we know about at this Direct so far is this year. Like if it's not,
I want to see it this year.
Something's fucked up.
And that's what I'm saying. Like Dev Direct should be stuff that's happening now. Showcase in June is the late. This is coming out at some point. Here's these awesome titles.
I'm just gonna throw. I'm just
and
gonna
that's
throw
where
this
you
out there.
show
I
Indiana Jones.
I agree. That's how they should do it, right? But like, there's 4 games that we know we're gonna be there right now. Ara, we know that's this year, right? We know Avowed's this year. We know Hellblade 2's this year. So we know 3 out of the 4 games for sure they have said is coming this year, right?
Yeah.
There's potentially a 4th game. A 5th game that's going to be there, right? And if that game's there, maybe that's a shadow drop, right, or whatever. So like, just hypothetically, let's say, like, I think Indiana Jones is this year as well, right? But I'm not like concrete on it. You know what I mean? I like, because we only have one dev direct like this to go by. And that was at a time when they absolutely needed to restore faith that the games are coming this year. But like, they have
the thing is,
Summer Showcase later this year too. So like, if they have another holiday game to show later, they may have wanted to potentially like have 2 opportunities to show Indiana Jones like this year instead of just one. Like, you know what I mean, in a big format. Like, I don't know.
If one of these games is the big holiday game, like I would assume it'd probably be Avowed, just so that they would have like a Starfield style direct for that at E3 again.
Right. So whatever, that's what I'm getting at. Like, one of these games might have a separate direct, or one of them might be, because Indiana Jones is being shown for the first time, and like you just said, Psycho, like, are they going to show the game for the first time and then release it the same year? I don't think so. But like you said that about Doom, but like Indiana Jones, that would be the situation, right? So it would be kind of a little bit unusual for that big of a game. I'm not saying I have a problem with it. That would be amazing, but it's not necessarily like, that's not necessarily what Microsoft.
I mean, they literally shadow dropped Hi-Fi last year.
They did.
Like, we never even saw that game.
Right.
It was like, oh, it's out.
Hi-Fi is not one of those juggernaut of games like Doom.
So I'm
a
just
game
saying,
like
I
that, you need to have some build up for a game like Doom. You can't just.
So what about Indiana Jones? Like, we're literally
now, Indiana Jones,
you don't need any hype or like roadmap.
Well, Indiana Jones has that game already had a teaser, so we already had that.
Okay,
it was already known a little bit.
Yeah.
So
no, I
it's
I know
not
it was
like
known, right?
Like Year Zero was like really not there. Like they haven't said shit. We're only going by what a piece of paper said. So a thing like Doom, I don't think that they would do that. But Indy, also, this is like, for me, they have to. If it's next year, like I would have rather seen it at June showcase. And
so you're right. We need 6 months of marketing for a game.
No. Listen here. They should not fuck with this formula with the developer direct. They did the first one and it was spot on. They need to keep that same flow going, because if they fuck up the energy of what a developer direct is, it's going to be the next XO19, and it was great and then disappears. We don't want that. We want Xbox to have a state of play or Nintendo Direct. We need that for Xbox, because if they fuck this up,
to be fair,
then
like, it's like, go ahead, finish your sentence. Sorry.
Then it's all for waste.
Right.
All that hard work everyone's been doing, and then they're gonna be like, "Hey, let's step on our dicks again."
Yeah, I feel like they're in a different place now too. Like, they have so many shows this year and stuff, right? But like, I wouldn't like put everything on the show and be like, if there's like something like at the show that like doesn't hit, like, oh, it's a fucking failure, oh my god, because they have so many things. I didn't say that. Right? No, I know, but like, if every game at the show isn't coming out this year, right?
Then don't do it. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Don't show a game if all 3 games are not coming out till next year. Don't do it.
So what's the point of E3? What's the point of E3? Like, oh,
E3
is until 2025. So don't show it. So It's
I'm
talking
saying
about
No,
this.
if one of
that's
them,
where you do it,
if
though,
if one of
Jasper.
them, and is that a huge fail, if one of the games isn't coming out this year.
No, if they decide to put
Okay, so
out
let me rephrase
Indiana
this.
Jones
If
next year,
Indiana Jones says 2025, is that a big problem for you for the Dev Direct?
if that's the only game, it'd be a disappointment. Yes, because they showed it at, at a direct where the last one was games that were happening the same year. So now it's like, okay, now the next one's like, is that these next
Yeah,
set
but
of
like
games
you
going to
can't
be
set
this year, next
all
year?
expectations on one show because there's no
Well,
track
that's
record,
you
right?
do. Well,
Well,
how you get a track record if you
by
don't
doing
keep the
things
same
more
track?
than one time, because one time
Okay,
doesn't.
but if you fuck up the track record by fucking up the formula, then how's that
But
a
there's
good track record?
there's no formula if you've only done it once. Like that's just
That's
like,
why they got to do it
but
right
we
the
don't.
second time
I know,
and
but
the
like
third
what
time.
I'm saying is like
That's what I'm saying.
There's no like regular cadence that we've established yet with this thing, right?
Well, that's why they need to.
I agree, right? But I'm not gonna if Indiana. I just want to. I'm trying to keep expectations in check a little bit, and I don't know why. It's just that like we all are expecting Indiana Jones this year. I'm expecting Indiana Jones this year now because it's at
I'm
this
expecting
show.
it because it's
But
at
like
the direct.
I feel like if it's announced for next year, we're gonna have this big like L in the community or something now, and it's like, but like
no,
we got
it's
like
not an L, but it's
other games and a brand new fucking Indiana Jones announcement, and then potentially another game shown. Like for me, I'm like
it's
that's
not an
still a
L.
great thing, you know.
It's not an L.
But
It's
like,
just
but I agree.
Everyone said the 12-month show was bad.
I also agree, Psycho.
it
That,
is. That is a shit fucking show. You're the only person that liked that, Jasper. You know that, right? You're the only guy that likes that 12-month showcase.
Yeah, it's not. You have to have more than one thing for it to be a pattern, right? Like 100%.
Yeah,
Like El Rey Tito's
no,
not
I
a
just
pattern yet. That's all I'm saying.
if I just how the cadence of stuff from the first one. If you do it again and you're showing stuff that's happening this year, then people know, okay, what's showing
then
at
it'll be a
developer
pattern,
direct.
right? Then it'll be a pattern,
Yeah,
for sure.
and then you know, okay,
and I
because
would love that.
we don't need shadow drops all the time, but having a secret game show up or two secret games, that is cool. I'd like that. That we don't know what this is going to show. It's like they showed 4, is 1 or 2 more coming, but we know that's coming this year. But if you start showing stuff that's coming out way in the future, save it for E3. That's all I'm saying. That's all.
I agree with you. That's what they should do. I just don't
That's
have
all I'm saying.
100% faith. That's what they will do. That's all I'm saying. I just don't have. But
I
like,
know.
I'm still okay with it if they don't, because that sets a different precedent of like we don't know what to expect at these shows, right? Like it's I'm okay with it either way, right? I think the evidence would tell us to expect it this year. I agree with that.
I only base it, Mav. I just base it because if we look at a state of play, it's that year, right?
We're basing it off
but
of PlayStation.
You don't base
Listen.
things off of PlayStation and Nintendo with
No,
Xbox.
no.
That's for sure.
But
right?
I'm just saying. But when you see a state of play, it's usually happening that year. You see a Nintendo Direct or Treehouse Direct or whatever the fuck they call it. It's happening that year, correct? It's usually how that goes.
Not always.
Games
No, not
No,
with Nintendo.
no, not always.
Nintendo's usually has
yeah,
stuff that it's like farther out.
But usually,
sometimes they announce
PlayStation.
Even then at PlayStation, sometimes they show things that are the next year. Like it's not the same. Like PlayStation, like really has no fucking.
though.
They have PlayStation has no pattern for their state of fucking plays. You watch one of those
lately.
things, you have no fucking clue what to expect. They try and set expectations. This is focused on our third party, and so, but like it could just be complete ass, or they could actually have some cool stuff, and then they could have stuff next year. They could have stuff this
Lately,
year.
as of the last like 2 years with their stated plays, it has been a mixed message of fucking garbage because they were like, you think it's coming out this year, and then you see fucking a year or 2 later date, and you're like, what the fuck? Why do you even show it here? Like, cool, we get an announcement, but that's not where you do it. You do it to showcase. Oh, that's right. Sony stopped doing showcases. They did one, and it was a fucking failure. But so
They got one coming.
that's where I don't want Xbox to get in. They're trying to get out of this negative, stagnant like this whole with everything with the media, they just need to do right with these developer directs. That's all.
Yeah. So I agree. They need to do great. And I'm looking for. I think this is going to be an amazing
That's
show.
all.
Either
I
way.
think that's all.
I just like
yeah.
how we're arguing for the fact that this has to be a showcase where everything comes out in the first 12 months. Like, that's just amazing to me.
No, goddammit.
And I'm still the one kind of being like, I don't really care. Like, honestly, I just care.
Yeah,
I
but
know that
it's-
there's great content coming this year. So, like, I just want to know what it is. But, like, if there's something that they show at a Dev Direct in January, like, if it doesn't hit this year, I would
a
find it
Dev Direct is
interesting.
where you do a 12-month showcase.
Oh,
You
what was
don't-
that? I
Yeah,
didn't hear that.
No, you do at a developer direct. You do a 12 months because that's within that year. But at an E3, you don't do a 12 months. You don't do that. You show what's coming out soon or in the future.
I just don't.
That's what
like. You
E3
just
is.
got to realize sometimes Xbox does random stuff that like doesn't necessarily
Yes,
make
and that's
sense.
why we have
right?
issues with sometimes with what Xbox does.
100%. But so I'm just trying to wrap my head around it ahead of time. Keep my open mind about Indiana Jones, right?
Yeah.
I'm keeping an open mind about Indiana Jones. I
just hope
I think it's coming this year, but I have an open mind about it, right? But I also do want to say, Psycho, to your point about Indiana Jones, right? You said, well, they don't need 6 months to mark all that stuff. We've argued this plenty of times before, right? That would mean that Doom could be a possibility this year. But you tried to shit on my theory of that. And I'm saying, man, Doom could happen this year because
the thing with Doom, though,
they could. Why not? Why not?
Because with Doom, you haven't shown a fucking thing. At least with Indiana Jones, we got
an announcement trailer. Oh,
we got an announcement trailer, and that gave hype. That's all.
Yeah.
If they showed a trailer like an announcement trailer, then they could do.
You show an announcement trailer. 6 months later, you drop the game.
No, Jasper. It has to be a year. All right. No,
it has to be a year at a time.
No, I just don't think. I'm just saying. I don't think Doom is ready to show out this year.
They've been really an announcement trailer. There's like a teaser trailer.
It was very quiet. They have not said anything. That's all I'm saying is that I don't think they're ready to say, "Hey, this is our game." I think they're going to try to polish that game to be the best and have because if we look at Doom Eternal, that game is very well done, and that they want that same with Year Zero, if that's what they decided to call it, Year Zero. I think that's where their expectations are. Is they want the best possible Doom before they announce anything. So that's why I'm saying I don't think it's ready.
Yeah, it's possible. I'm just throwing it out there as a candidate.
I just don't think that a trailer has to be out a year before a game comes out for it to come out. Like that's my only point to that.
Yeah,
like I think they can come out whenever the fuck they want. But
I mean, we've had several big games come out the same year that they're announced, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like I think every game they have different marketing. Really, they come up with a marketing strategy and like, what are they going to do? How are they going to show off the trailers and stuff? And like,
and also this would be the third Doom like in the reboot series, so it's like, do you really need to market it as much? Probably not. Like it's a known thing.
I'm just trying to figure out what the fourth game is. You know, and I hope it's not Flight Sim.
I don't know,
but maybe
it's Echo. It's Echo. Right?
Yeah, let's start talking about Echo.
It's fucking Echo. Echo is going to be
the game.
Yeah, Echo the game.
Echo the Dolphin that came out on N64.
You have no audio. You have no audio, and it's going to be an amazing game.
Yeah. Okay,
just like the TV series is phenomenal.
All right. So, we all watched Echo on Disney Plus.
Did you finish it, Psycho?
Fuck no, I did not finish it. I got through the first episode. That was it.
Okay, well, me and
that's all I can get through.
You can listen
deal with
to our,
spoilers.
review.
I don't give a fuck. I don't think there's much to spoil.
Yeah, there may be some spoilers here, guys. So we're gonna talk about Echo. Okay, and this is the
Did we
latest.
see Elektra?
This is the latest
Ooh.
MCU show on the Disney Plus. And it's interesting. One thing I'll say, it's the shortest show so far. It's 5
Yeah, 5
episodes.
episodes.
That is like less. Most of them are less than 40 minutes. I think maybe all less than 40 minutes. I'm not sure. But
Yeah. 51, 41, 45, 40. And I can't see the fifth
okay,
one.
so maybe they're not under 40 minutes then. But anyway, they're around 40 something minutes.
They're not an hour.
They're not an hour. Yeah, they're not an hour. So it's the shortest show. The episodes seem shorter. I think part of those minutes are like recaps.
The first
Yeah.
episode seemed real long to me, though.
It's the longest one.
Well, but
it was 51 minutes.
The reason the first episode was long is because the first half of the
It was
first episode
recap, yeah.
was all recap. They're recapping. They're giving you more origin story, more like where she came from, how all that kind of stuff, and then they're recapping the Hawkeye stuff, right? And then they're finally getting into the show. I think the first episode, because of that, was the worst. There was just so much recap, right? Especially if you've already seen the show before, that like the real story of what's taking place now doesn't take place until like halfway through the first show.
Yeah,
The first
'cause
episode.
I will say, when it fucking started off with the fucking people poking out of the pools, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what is this?
Well, you'll have to watch the rest of the show to find
and then
out. It's like,
and then I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So like, I'm like, are we gonna get like Mirage? Are we gonna get like those type of MCU characters? And then it just fucking went into.
but you've only watched one episode, so like,
I know.
Pretty much, I think they're trying to make her a mutant at the end of the day.
yeah, you've watched one episode, and you've watched which is the recap episode. Let's just be real. They like very little got into anything that's actually going on with the story in the first episode. Just very, very little at the very end. And even then it's not really anything at all to go on. So overall though, like there was 4 more episodes besides what I call the recap episode, right? And that's when the real story gets going. And you can kind of start to see what's going on here. You have Maya trying to get back at Kingpin's people. Yeah, his whole mob and the whole organization, right? Clearly, she was shot.
She thought he was dead, so
yeah, she was shot by one of them or something. She was on the run. She got help. Went home to get help, right? Turns out she's from Choctaw Nation in Oklahoma, that was pretty cool for me because like I live close to there, right? Like,
so that's kind of one of my points with the show is like I feel like the story overall was just like a classic Native American story where it's like the white man comes in and it's like, oh, he's destroying the town, and then all like the people rise up against the white man. Like I've seen this before in Walker Texas Ranger. I don't need to see this again in fucking Echo.
Right. I get what you're saying. Like it was cool for me though seeing it where it is because like I'm pretty close to there, like I live in Dallas area, so like going into Oklahoma and that area is like an hour away, so like you going to the casinos up in Choctaw and all that kind of stuff, and like it's interesting to see a show that kind of based on the Choctaw people and stuff like that. Although I looked up her character, supposedly her character is Cheyenne, like from comic lore, so they changed that up. Whatever, fine, right? But anyway, so the story got going. You had turned out, spoiler alert, Kingpin is alive after the events of Hawkeye. She just took out his eye or something, and then he got it put back in. I don't know. Like he wears this bandage thing, takes it off, puts it back on. He has an eye there, so I don't know what he keeps putting that blue bandage thing on his head for. It's almost like healing him or something. I don't know what that's there for, right? But so you have Kingpin, he's alive, and basically he wants her back. he forgives her. He wants her to run his empire. She still hasn't forgotten who she is now. She's coming to grips with her where she comes from, forgiveness and all that kind of stuff, and doesn't necessarily want any part of that. And Kingpin doesn't like it. So events unfold and leads to the culmination of the final episode, which I will say, Jasper, for me, I felt like they were going somewhere that I thought it was going to get good. I thought it was like, I felt like it needed like 4 more episodes. Like they were missing out a lot until they really grow this. But like, it just kind of was finally starting to get somewhere. And then it just kind of ended, and without any kind of like big payoff.
Also, the
anything.
fucking fight at the end was so fucking stupid. She's like, I'm going to use the power of my ancestors, and now I can control all the women in this little barn and beat the fuck out of you. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
That was a stupid power, if I've ever seen one. Seeing like a grandma fight like that is just like so weird. You know what I mean? Like it would have been cooler if she had like the actual echoes of the people do the fighting or something, and she could like, do stuff with that. But to have her like her cousin and her grandma start fighting, like they're like, oh yeah, cool, I can fight now. And
you see the 80-year-old grandma like throw a fucking high kick.
Yeah, it's like, okay,
what the fuck?
Yeah, I get it, but I don't like that implementation of the abilities that she gets. Like there would have been so much cooler stuff, because they did such a for the first 4 episodes, like they were setting up those different like ancestors, right? In the beginning, you had the one that was like playing the sport, right? Then you had the one that wanted to be
like
a light horse ranger or whatever, and then you had the her grandma and mom, right, and stuff like that. So you had these like ancestors. They kept building them up in all the opening of these episodes. And then you kind of learn, and then she kind of has the 5th episode was decent when she's learning about all that stuff and like figuring that out, until you see it actually in use later, and then the fight, and it sucks ass, and it's like, oh, this was a waste, like.
And then I feel like the whole Kingpin side of thing was just like forced in there, because it's like, oh, she has a connection with Kingpin, let's just force Kingpin shit in this story. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, like I looked at her, like the character's story arc, and it makes sense that Kingpin's involved with her because of the whole thing. But he was the best part of the show. Let's just be real. Like, Kingpin is like Vincent D'Onofrio, I think is how you say his name. He just plays
D'Onofrio.
He fucking is an amazing Kingpin. Psycho, don't you ever give me clarification on a name.
No, I only know because my best friend, her last name is D'Onofrio.
Yeah,
and she told me that's how you pronounce it.
What's the head of the FTC's name?
Lisa Khan.
No. There we go. I'm just kidding, man.
I will say, like, the one positive I had about this show is like the overall quality, like visually and like budget wise, it seemed like it was like really good.
Like
the visual quality and like the way it was kind of like shot and stuff, it seemed really good. But like other than that, it's like, I don't know.
I will say this: how did you guys feel with the fight between Daredevil and Echo in episode 1? Did that feel choreographed as much as that clip that 3-bit sent us?
People sharing that shit on Twitter, and like, really, you could really pinpoint like several different fight scenes in any classic movies or great movies, and really look
but
at
I'm
it
saying,
that close,
was it that? Did you guys think
it was whatever?
It cleaned up a little bit. It seemed like they got it cleaned up. To me,
I didn't notice anything about it when I was watching it. When I was watching the show, I thought it was just a normal fight scene in a show that like had some cool moments.
Yeah,
people were making a big deal about the delayed kick thing too. Like, there's people sharing that clip about the delayed kick. She did this delayed kick where she like actually held her leg in the air. And I remember when I saw it like live when I was watching the show, I was like, that was fucking badass. I haven't seen that done in a show like this before. Like, that's a pretty fucking sick move. But then I saw people act like she didn't know how to kick on Twitter, like based on that. And I'm like, that's
the funny thing I saw was like the way she lost her leg, like how she had that giant like glass shard in her
Yeah.
leg, people were like, car windows don't break like that. You don't get a fucking 12-inch glass shard out of the car window.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like her whole backstory is just based off a lie of physics.
Yeah. Like the glass will break in a really obscured way that never actually happens in real life, but we're gonna sell it.
Yeah. I liked.
No, I thought the fight was fine. I thought how it
Yeah.
looked, it was a lot cleaner than what that fucking clip. The clip showed it. It was like me and my buddies like play acting, fucking like fighting for a fucking homemade movie, and this show, like actually how the show went, was actually a better.
Yeah, that's
A
the
better
one
fight
thing
scene,
with
so.
like I know the MCU isn't at the best place it's been, right? But like sometimes people just have to sabotage shit and like
Yeah.
really pick stuff over apart that really isn't that big of a deal or like that bad to begin with. But
It's
like,
Warner Brothers.
but
That's all.
it's all of a sudden it's like when Marvel does something, it's like, oh, let's find all the flaws and expose them everywhere because we're just like because we want to show how bad it is because it's the cool thing to do now. You know what I mean? But like, really, you watch the show, like none of the fight scenes were bad. I thought a lot of them were actually pretty damn good, and I thought like out of like I don't know if she had a stunt double on a lot of this stuff or whatever, but some of it seemed like she was actually doing this stuff. But like, she seemed like she plays like the physical aspect of the role really well, right? As doing all the
Yeah.
stuff and like
Yeah.
it's interesting the character. Like I actually liked the one thing is about like her character like personality and all that kind of stuff wise. I liked her better in Hawkeye.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because Hawkeye really didn't get that all the fluff that is like her backstory. So you kind of just saw her this like fucking merc that was picking a fight with Hawkeye, aka Ronan, and Kid is it Kitty Bishop?
Kate Bishop?
Kate
The
Bishop.
Is
Yeah.
Hawkeye's
Hawkgirl? Yeah.
like
Or whatever.
mentor
It's
thing?
the new
Yeah.
Hawkeye. Yeah.
So yeah, so she was represented a lot better in Hawkeye, and then you get like this other fluff, and you're like, okay, you kind of like you take that badass out of it because now it's like there's you don't have that mystery that's looms around her. Now you know a lot more.
One thing about this show too is like a lot of it was pretty slow, right? And I think they were really playing with the sound a lot, because
That's what I was saying. Like, I enjoyed the way they shot it. Like,
Yeah.
it was actually shot like pretty well. I feel like because the way they like remove sound in certain places to kind
Yeah.
of like put you in her mind and stuff. Like, I
Mhm.
thought that was really cool.
They try to
but,
make it like meaningful with that
yeah.
kind of stuff, right? And like I think they did a good job. At some points, I think it made the episodes come across a little slower than they needed to be at times, right? And I was like waiting for stuff to happen. Like her cut, like some of her family was just like super annoying and just didn't really serve a great purpose. Like Biscuits was all right, I guess. You had Bonnie. Bonnie was just like annoying leech. Like I don't know about. There's Bonnie. You had her uncle, Uncle Henry, I think is what his name was. I thought his character was pretty cool. And then
The DJ.
yeah, it's her uncle, and like
Mm.
overall, like as it went on, like her character was pretty good, but I felt like it kind of landed flat with her family stuff that they really tried to push a lot. Like I didn't really feel like the culmination moment of her coming to grips with her family and really embracing her heritage and all that stuff really came forward like it was supposed to. Like I don't know. She just seemed like so emotionless, like a lot of times until the last episode. But really a lot of it's nitpicky. I thought the show was going in a good direction. I was getting interested. Then it just kind of ended. And I do
In the
feel like
stupidest fucking way.
yeah, and I felt like the 5th episode was becoming the best episode until the ending. And then it became the worst episode instantly. because of how it ended with Kingpin and the fight scene all together was just they need to rethink that like whole scenario with her abilities. Like I don't know. Like she ain't gonna have Grandma and Bonnie running around all the damn time to be able to become all of a sudden like Echo Warriors. I don't know what to call them, but like all of a sudden be like, I give you the power of me to fight and stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't get that. It was weird.
And then she didn't like do anything to Kingpin. She just healed his pain, so he's no longer angry or whatever. It's like, well, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, what did you do to me? And he just goes and gets in the car and they drive away and it's ended. And I'm like, I don't know what they did to you. I would sure as fuck would like to know what she did to you too, man.
Hold on, that scene where he screams, "What'd you do to me?" is the
Yeah, she just went up and like fingered his forehead, and then she's like, "You're cured," and then he went away.
oh my god.
Yeah, she like tried to heal his pain from his childhood, right?
Is it even worth me finishing?
I mean, if you want to be disappointed at the end, you know, it's like you'll come away with blue balls a little bit on this on this, I think. Like here,
So
I
so
don't know. It's a tough thing to say. I feel like it could go somewhere good in the future, but I don't know if I necessarily want another fucking Echo season now after this one, especially if it's this short and stuff.
So,
like I don't know.
Mab, are you telling me that if I watch the ending of Echo, it will feel like I just watched Reforged podcast? Hey, is that what you're telling me?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
I don't know.
Disappointed and left not wanting more.
If that's the way you feel,
I don't know. I don't know where you're going with that.
I think he's just trying to get a dig in.
Yeah, that's a random dig. I'm all for it. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's hard for me to say if I would recommend somebody watch this show or not, because like according to this being a spotlight show, you don't need to know anything from the MCU to watch this, right? But then almost the entire fucking first episode is a recap. So that's how they get it. That's how is that the spotlight part? You know what I mean? Because without that, you would have needed to watch the MCU to watch this whole fucking show. So I don't understand the point of spotlight. I think that's just a whole stupid thing to begin with. Just like make it part of the MCU and don't have any confusion there about what it means. I mean, you know,
I would say it's not like the worst thing they've ever put out, but it's not the best thing. Like it's all right. Like
yeah. So what would you give
like
it?
Whatever.
A score?
Like a 5.
I'm like a 5.5 maybe. Like
yeah.
It was too short, not enough episodes, and that it didn't allow for enough to happen.
Yeah, I just felt like it was like a classic story that I've already seen a dozen times in like movies and stuff, but with a fucking girl that has superpowers in it now. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I was kind of almost disappointed they gave her like those kind of
yeah, her getting those stupid ancient like powers or whatever is like,
yeah,
no,
I
keep her deaf and like super sense.
Well, but like the Marvel character, I was looking up the comic character has like powers, right? She can like do things like to call on things and stuff with the Echo. She has powers, right, in the comics. It's probably got to be a mutant thing because it's probably a mutant gene that's passed along.
Yeah, they're probably gonna do some mutant tie-in or that, or like the way her ancestors were like in that underground cave. It's like maybe it's another realm, like Black Panther, where Black Panther visits all those ancient people. Like it could be something like that.
3, but you're gonna come in the chat when you're not coming on the show, and you're gonna come out here and say you're giving Echo a 10 out of 10, and you're not coming on the show to talk about it.
He gave it 10 out of 10.
Is it 10?
Boo this man, chat. Boo
is that for real? Is that are you trolling? Like I have to know. Is it for real? You give it a 10 out of 10? I'm like at a standstill. Okay, he's trolling. Okay. I was like,
Well, and he's trolling now because he saw the overall reaction of everyone. He's like, "Oh shit, I gotta get back this."
like I better back off my stance. Alvin says 6 out of 10. El Rey Tito says a 5 or a 6. Yeah, I mean, like I kind of enjoyed watching it, but like there's a lot of better things I could watch. I like Kingpin in it. I hope the story does go from here, but again, I want them to rework her powers. Like, again, that's just the stupidest thing. Like, it is not going to ever look well or play well on screen or be entertaining to watch. I don't like. I don't know. She's gonna travel with Grandma and Bonnie everywhere she goes. Like, I don't know like how it's gonna work out. You know. So and they did change her powers too from the comics. So they just pretty much changed her character in general.
Yeah.
All the way around. But still kept it somewhat related to it. Oh, but anyway, yeah, Echo, 5 or 6. Don't necessarily recommend, but if you love MCU, you might like it a little bit.
I just watched it all in one night. I just binge watched the whole thing. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, man, we got a lot to look forward to this week, guys. I remember there was wasn't there one other piece of news that came out?
Halo TV show season 2 trailer came out last
Yeah,
week.
season that looks fucking awesome.
Does it though?
Jasper, come on. Really?
Yeah, I'm not getting my hopes up for it. There's a lot of shots with him without even armor on fighting. There's some new ladies that are running around. It's like, oh, okay, don't know who the fuck these people are, but I'm sure they're gonna be a main fucking character, and not Master Chief. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Okay, I have high hopes.
I'm just afraid that like the trailer showed all the cool battle scenes, kind of like it did last year,
right.
where you got all the cool battle scenes in the trailer, and it's like, oh, that's the show.
Well, it's
Cool.
coming. It's coming up in February, right? So we'll soon know soon enough. Also, we got our first look at the Liam Hemsworth as Geralt.
Witcher, yeah.
That is trash as fuck.
This looks like what I thought he would look like as The Witcher, and
I am not watching The Witcher now, unfortunately.
Yeah, other than that, that's all we got though. Like I think that it's gonna be an interesting year for Marvel because really all they have is Deadpool, right?
Yeah.
They don't have any other movies this year. I don't think.
I don't think so.
Do they have any other shows besides What If, which came out? X-Men '97,
I think Thunderbolts,
Thunderbolts, maybe.
or is that a movie? I don't remember. I think they do have one other show, but
Okay. It'll be an interesting year for Marvel, but yeah, maybe one of the quietest years for Marvel this year. In all, in a long time.
They just have Deadpool, and that's it.
Alvin says the Agatha show. Is that this year?
was the Ironheart show? Is that maybe that's what I'm thinking of, not Thunderbolts.
Ironheart, maybe this. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. There's not a
I'm
lot
not
to be.
again.
There's not a lot to be
Yeah.
excited with MCU this year. This is like a heavily big like MCU like podcast. Like there's just not a whole lot this year. DC stuff. There's not like a lot this year. Like it's gonna
There
be
hasn't
interesting.
really been a lot any time, any year for DC.
Yeah, it's just weird, interesting. I mean, I haven't seen Aquaman yet. It shows where I am with that. Usually I'm all in on this stuff like day one, but yeah, I haven't even.
I was hoping to get some titty shots of Amber Heard in there, but I heard that they didn't show any titties.
Okay, is that
Okay.
is that what you were looking for in a DC movie? Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
Be careful, she'll be shit on your bed.
Yeah.
that is
Okay.
true. That is true. No, I'll hit her in the nose with my rolled up newspaper. Bad, Amber. Bad.
What the hell is up with you tonight, man? Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't condone that on this channel.
If you shit on my bed, I'm gonna smack you in the nose.
No.
You
Everybody.
heard that, Caitlin?
No.
Go
No.
take a big
Psycho,
dump.
Psycho, stop it. Stop. All right, everybody. We're getting out of here. Thank you all for tuning in to FunPop. And we'll be back Thursday for the Dev Direct. We will have a co-stream at 2:30 Eastern Time. We're going live and going to co-stream that, and hopefully a lot of answers and awesome stuff. And then later, we will have PM in the PM for episode 100. Oh, Alvin said, did I get your last super? Did I miss it? Oh, shit, I did miss it. Bro, thank you. I missed that entirely, bro. Sorry about that. Alvin with the $5 super chat says, I think the reaction of every MCU show is divided between people who liked the Netflix Daredevil show and people who don't care, didn't see it. I never saw it. Daredevil on Netflix was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that Kingpin was the best part of this show, probably because of that.
Yeah.
Right. Also, I would add Hawkeye in there. Like, I think Hawkeye was a better show with Maya in it than this was. For what it's worth.
I only seen one episode, and I can say yes.
Yeah. Anyway, see you guys on Thursday for the Dev Direct, and then PM of the PM. Hope you all have a good one. Peace out. Take it easy. Good night. Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. Outros. My bad.
It's whatever.
Fuck. Psycho, where can people find you?
Thanks, everyone, for coming out. You can see me on social media, Psychonauts 8, Monday, Tuesdays, and Fridays on 10 o'clock. That's it.
Right on, bro. Jasper?
What Psycho said, and then this Thursday at 3 o'clock for the Dev Direct. That's where I'll be, so check that out. Yo.
Right on. Peace out, everybody. Have a good night. Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Oh.